let's go back a couple of steps when we had kind of our blue gradient map. Let's add a different photo from pexels.com. I found this really neat statue photo that might look nice. You can find any other photo of your choice to use. I'm going to bring this in, and right now it's on top of the gradient filter. So I can go ahead and make that a little bit bigger and bring that underneath that gradient map filter, and automatically that neat effect is applied. So now I can make it a little bit bigger, stretch all the way across, maybe bring more emphasis on the angel's face. I can even add a brightness adjustment just to do a quick brightening of that photo. A little bit of contrast. And let's edit the type. Let's do something, let's do a juxtaposition between the traditional angel sculpture and using a more modern typeface. That might be very playful. So let's do a sans serif typeface, and we can go to our filter, and if we know we want a sans serif, we can go ahead and just show sans serif typefaces. And there's one that I really like called Komu, and I believe it's an Adobe font. So if you have an Adobe subscription, you have access to this font, but you can use it's a condensed font, so it's very low in width. It's a very short condensed, so you can really pack a lot in a small width space. So I'm going to do this Komu A, and we work a little bit with this later and some future work. So let's go ahead and do Komu A. So gradient maps are cool. Let's kind of tighten that spacing. Since this is a condensed typeface, we also want to be able to tighten it in the leading as well. So let's adjust that, maybe 24, or we're gonna have to do a custom number, aren't we? Let's do 20. It's a little too tight. Let's do 22. And let's separate this cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this cool out. So I'm just going to do edit cut, and I'm just going to create a separate text box so I can have more control. Just pasting it, and now I have it as its own little layer. And let's make this a different color for contrast. Let's use the same gold that we've been using. So when we look at this photo, if we move it to the left, we have the eyes gazing to the left. We have the statue mostly kind of being more on the left. So if we also have the typography on the left, it's very left heavy. So let's provide a little bit of balance or interest in the photo by bringing the typography over here to the right. Now all of a sudden you have this upper left to lower right movement of the eye. It feels very natural. But it would be great to have a little bit of an anchor that can help me really solidify or place this typography here on the document. And you can do this in so many ways. Before we use the line, a divider line or a box, you could also use little small graphical elements like a little cross or a plus sign, which you see used often. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to get the rectangle tool, and we're going to just do a little box or a little rectangle. We're going to make this, let's do fill, let's do the same color. So let's do our recently used color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick option drag, and I'm going to get the rotate tool, and I'm just going to hold down the shift key and rotate it until it clicks into place at 90 degrees. So I can eyeball this and try to find a center point, or I could select both of my shapes right here, and I can do a center alignment up here. So just doing a center alignment, but also doing a horizontal vertical align. So just kind of aligning it center and aligning it vertical, and we'll do lots of alignment in Adobe Illustrator later on. So now I want to make this one unit. So I can merge these layers together. So instead of just being two independent shapes, this is just one merged object. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go down to merge shapes. So with both of these layers selected, right click, merge shapes. It's going to just make them one easy to use layer. Looks like there's some kind of stroke on there, so just go to your appearance panel and just make sure it's on null. Or you could do a little keyboard shortcut. If you ever want to quickly merge layers, you could do Command E and it's going to quickly merge layers for you. So now I have this one little element and it can kind of be our anchor. So I'm going to make it smaller and bring it right here. Use my keyboard arrows, just kind of nudge it down. I can right click, duplicate layer, or I can just hold down Option and drag, whatever you feel comfortable with, and I can make a second one down there. Just adds a graphical element. It's not required. You don't have to put this stuff on everything. I just think it kind of adds a small element to the design. And if you ever want to check on alignment, especially with typography and with a little shape like this, you can always go up to View and go to Rulers. So this is going to show your rulers. And we go to View, Rulers. All of a sudden you're going to see your rulers on the top and you're going to see rulers over here. Let me go ahead and move my toolbar over so you can see. And you have rulers on the left. So you can see this is a 1080 pixel document. So it starts at 0 and it goes all the way over to 1080 pixels in width. And it's also 1080 in height. So it goes all the way to 1080 in height. So what happens when I click up on the ruler on the top here, I click and drag, you're going to get a guide. And these guides are fully customizable. So let's say I want to make sure this is aligned properly. And this can be any design element. I can adjust this so it's at the top of the G, and I can just make sure everything is lined up. I use my keyboard arrows to quickly change it. And also I can click and make another one. So I can make sure my other one is lined up properly. You can also do it vertically as well. So I can click over on my vertical ruler, click and drag, and this is really handy if you're doing logo design or if you're doing a layout and you're blocking out a design. You can really kind of double check your alignment just to make sure it looks good. It also helps you know where the weight is in your design. And let's say I don't want to see these things anymore. You can click and drag them all the way out to the ruler and let go, and they are removed. So I can click and drag it off to the ruler and it just kind of goes away. Or you can toggle on your view or go down to show, and you can go down to guides and you can just uncheck them and you don't have to have them. And there's keyboard shortcuts too to toggle them on and off. So we'll go over that too. Every Adobe program has guides that you can do with rulers. So once you learn it in Photoshop, we'll go over it again in Illustrator. So there you have it. You can do a quick export. You can go to File, Export As, do a quick export, and just that's it. Export, and you're done. Let's do one more, maybe going away from the blue and doing something a tiny bit different. I'll see you in the next lesson.